Russia warns of Baltic nuclear deployment if NATO admits Sweden and Finland.
Here's a summary of the article.
Deputy Chairman of Russia's Security Council Dmitry Medvedev delivers a speech during a meeting with members of the Security Council in Moscow, Russia, February 21, 2022. Sputnik, Alexei Nikolsky, Kremlin via Reuters. Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters. Com London, April 14. One of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest allies warned NATO on Thursday that if Sweden and Finland joined the US-led military alliance, then Russia would have to bolster its defenses in the region, including by deploying nuclear weapons. Finland, which shares a 1,300 km border with Russia, and Sweden are mulling whether or not to join the NATO alliance. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, said that should Sweden and Finland join NATO, then Russia would have to strengthen its land, naval and air forces in the Baltic Sea to restore military balance. Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters. Medvedev also explicitly raised the nuclear threat by saying that there could be no more talk of a nuclear-free Baltic, where Russia has its Kaliningrad exclave sandwiched between Poland and Lithuania. There can be no more talk of any nuclear-free status for the Baltic. The balance must be restored, said Medvedev, who was president from 2008 to 2012. Until today, Russia has not taken such measures and was not going to, Medvedev said. Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine has killed thousands of people, displaced millions and raised fears of a wider confrontation between Russia and the United States.
This post received a score of 47,000, with an upvote ratio of 92%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
They already have nuke submarines in the Baltic Sea. Entered through Skagerrak but never left. So what does this change? Nothing.
It changes nothing. Russia already has nukes aimed at the NATO states in the Baltics and Norway, which already threaten much of Finland and Sweden.
Is this true? The radiation from nuking Eastern Europe would most certainly reach Russia. Lol. Talk about playing yourself.
Yes, and surely that will also bring them more customers for their oil and gas sector.
So their very smart colonels in 30 years will make their troops dig trenches in the nuclear wastelands of the future.
Huh? No way they could ever be this incompetent. Imagine the disregard for their own people's safety, the dangerously blind trust in a misinformed chain of command and ignorance of their very own country's history necessary to make such a mistake. It would surely make everyone in Russia wake up to the horrors this military operation is creating. Right?
You know how everyone was worried because like 30 to 40% of the US seemed to be dumb as donkey shit for the past 20 years. Turns out it's a much higher percentage in Russia.
Turns out Russia is really good at propaganda.
Is that the 50th nuclear threat in 7 weeks?
Like the ineffectual adolescent with a rich father constantly reminding others of this fact.
Gavin de Becker writes about how threatening ultimatums with conditions only go to show how little power you believe you have. If you marry that woman, I will disown you, only demonstrates that you feel so helpless and convinced your kid will marry that woman that the only thing you feel will work is threatening the nuclear option. If you actually felt you had a compelling argument, you would try persuasion or bribery, other less destructive tactics. If they are threatening nukes, it's truly because they can't think of any better reason for these countries to not join NATO, and that lack of creativity is really sad.
The only thing we have to offer is not nuclear war.
That Ukraine war really backfired, huh? I think Putin is taking his role of NATO recruiter seriously. He wants to win the NATO Recruiter of the Month award.
I mean, it seems like the biggest drives for joining NATO are 1. Be threatened by Russia, the USSR. 2. Be a former member of the Warsaw Pact, USSR, and deciding you don't want to be under Russia's thumb again. 3. Be in the Balkans, preferably threatened by Serbia at some point. Sounds like he needs to get Serbia to do more threatening on his behalf if he wants that award.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.